Sophie's dance class. Angela McAllister. Chapter 1. This is Sophie. She loves her mom and dad and her baby brother Max. She loves anything that sparkles and everything pink. And she loves to dance. Sometimes Sophie dresses up as a princess and dances around the house. Sometimes she pretends to be a fairy and dances around the garden. I wish I was a proper dancer in a show, said Sophie. At the end of a sh- at the end of a show, a proper dancer curtsies and all people clap. Sophie decided to put on her own show. She made tickets for her toys. Sit still now, she told them, and don't talk. Sophie danced a jiggly, jumpy dance, then a swooping, swaying dance. Then she hopped and skipped and waved her arms high. The toy sat very, very still and didn't talk. But at the end, when Sophie curtsied, nobody clapped. Mac just sucked his thumb happily. Oh dear, it's not a real show without clapping, said Sophie sadly. She didn't feel like a proper dancer at all. Chapter 2. On Sophie's birthday, two presents were waiting for her at the breakfast table. The first present was a sparkling pink bag. I love it, said Sophie. Thank you, I'm going to take it everywhere. The second present was a ballet book with lots of pictures. Sophie's favorite picture was the beautiful dancer with the flowers in her hair. That afternoon, Grandma came to tea. She gave Sophie a present tied in a pink with a pink ribbon. It was glittery wand. Mom tied the pink ribbon in Sophie's hair, and Sophie danced for Grandma. And Sophie danced. She wished that one day she would be a proper dancer, just like ballerinas in her book. Chapter 3. Next morning, Mom and Sophie went shopping. What are we going to buy? She asked. You are old enough to have ballet lessons now, so we're off to buy the things you'll need, said Mom. Mom took Sophie to the ballet shop. She gave the lady behind the counter a list of things that Sophie would need. The shop lady found everything in the list, and Sophie tried them on. Sophie looked at herself in the shop mirror and pointed her toes, just like the dancer in her book. The clothes were too special to wear outside, so the shop lady packed them all up carefully and gave them to Sophie. Sophie put the shoes in her bag and carried them home proudly. That night, Sophie laid her ballet clothes on a chair beside her bed. The moon shone between curtains and sparkled on her wand. Sophie yawned. She couldn't wait for her first ballet dancing. Maybe she really would be a proper dancer one day. Chapter 4. On the day of the ballet lesson, Sophie woke up early and danced around her room in her nightie. Max started to cry, so Sophie went to see him. Poor Max, said Sophie. He'll cheer up when you go into town, said Mom. Sophie felt excited and nervous. She picked up her wand. It will help me to feel brave, she thought. When they arrived, the ballet school was very busy. Sophie held her wand tight. Hello, Sophie. And Miss Lucy, said Miss Lucy, the teacher. Welcome to our class. Miss Lucy showed Sophie where to change her shoes and introduced her to the other girls. Then they all lined up and Miss Lucy led them into the dance studio. A man sat at the piano ready to play the music. First, the girls sat on the floor and Miss Lucy called the register. Then she told them to stand in a circle and pretend to be beautiful birds. Skip lightly and stretch your wings, said Miss Lucy. Next, Sophie had to be a rocket, ready to take off. 3, 2, 1, lift off! She bounced and jumped as high as she could. Then the girls sat on the floor and pretended to ride the bicycle, stretching their legs and pointing their toes. Sophie tried not to giggle. Now, I want everyone to stretch high and pick a star gently out of the sky, said Miss Lucy. Sophie imagined a starry sky above them. I think we're all warmed up, said Miss Lucy. So, we are ready to learn first position. The first thing every ballerina learns is first position, said Miss Lucy. The girls watched carefully. Heels are kissing, said Miss Lucy, and bad toes have had an argument and don't want to look at each other. Sophie watched and copied what Miss Lucy did. She stood up high, straight, and looked in the big mirror. At last she was learning to be a proper dancer. Sophie learned how to half bend by making a diamond window with her legs. She learned how to point and tap her foot gently, as if she was a princess wearing a glass slipper. Then she learned how to trot like a pony. Sophie loved it all. When it was time to finish, Miss Lucy showed everyone how to curtsy with their feet in the first position. Well done, girls, she said. You danced beautifully. Sophie noticed a poster of a dance show on the wall. I'm going to be a proper dancer in a show just like that one day, she thought. Sophie wanted to rush out to tell her mom everything, but she had to walk nicely in line, just like a proper dancer. Mom was waiting with all the other moms and dads and brothers and sisters. Did you enjoy the class? She asked. Oh, yes, said Sophie, giving her a hug. We even did a curtsy at the end. Look, Max. Max looked at his sister, but his eyes stretched up. He started to cry again. Oh, dear, said Mom. Max cried so loudly that the other children began to cry too. That baby's got a tooth coming, said one of the moms. Poor Max, said Mom. I think you're right. Sophie had an idea. She began to dance. As soon as Sophie started to dance, Max stopped crying. All the children stopped crying. Sophie fluttered like a bird. She jumped like a shooting mother. She stretched up and picked stars out of the sky. Last of all, she pointed her pink satin toes and imagined she was a beautiful dancer from her book. Then Sophie stood in first position and curtsied. All the moms and dads and girls and their brothers and sisters clapped. Max was smiling and laughing too. That was a lovely show, Sophie, said Miss Lucy. Sophie beamed. It had been a real show, with real ballet shoes and a curtsy and clapping at the end. At last, she felt like a proper dancer.